Hey everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm here with my co-host, JC. Hey, JC.
Wendy, it's a pleasure to be back. Thanks for having me on our show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on our show. Thanks for our show. Otherwise, I'd be here being technology queen, and sometimes I have to be, and I really don't want to be. I'd rather just be the HR lady. With that said, what I wanted to, talk about today is the fact that I'm getting older. I personally am probably one of the few people that loves to get older. I love it. I love saying things that I can say that come with age. And I also realize at this age, I'm about to be 50 any day now, and I'm going on a big cruise for that. But I realize I have so much to learn even at 50. Every time I think, oh, I've learned it all. Nope. Something new comes around the corner, or a new federal law, for example, in the HR world. And then I'm wishing, oh man, did I really have to choose this career? Kidding, folks.
Wendy,
I love my career.
Wendy, end of the day, you just got to remember one key thing before we really get into it today. Your ambitions are too important to sit idle. I read that on a website recently. It was called masteringyoursavvy.com. I don't know if you know anything about that. Legendary spot to stop by, Wendy.
I really love that website. In fact, we have the owner of the website here today. Welcome, Luann Horobin. Hi, Luann. How you doing?
Hi, Wendy. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I can't complain. I could, but nobody's listening. But honestly, I really can't complain. I have a good life. I live down here in Florida and in the South, or actually most of the United States and even Canada now. We're being hit with such weird weather things that I think all of us are just really realizing well, what's going on? And maybe, we're too old or too young to learn something new, but I don't think that's the truth. Luann, you're an expert in this. I want to talk to you about ageism.
Oh, I really agree with you. It isn't our ability to learn is not affected by our age. I mean, it's a desire more or less, and it's part of us, regardless whether we're young or I know some people that are even in their more advanced years, which is past 50. There's still learning keenly all the time. It's like an insatiable appetite.
Yeah, that's how I am too. And sometimes I kick myself because I just keep adding things to my agenda to read. And lately it's been about weird things that are not related to HR. And I feel like that's something that I have to go, okay, good. That keeps me away from the HR world, makes me sleep better at night because I was focused on aliens or ghosts or something like that for a couple hours. But speaking of, just learning new things, are our listeners worried that they're too young or too old to make a career change? I personally think career changes could be happening at any time or place, but I know because of what I do in life as an HR consultant that many companies might judge you for that because you don't have the experience on your resume. So what are your thoughts on that about ageism and, making changes in a career?
Well, I could talk for a while on this one because I do agree that there are thoughts on both ends of the scale, whether we're entering our career or in the earlier stages, or whether we've been in our career for a while and we're more in the advanced stages of our career. There are thoughts on both sides of that scale about how successful we would be when we're entering a role and when we're making a career change. And really, the factor of age is, I guess, not exactly the prime consideration. The prime consideration is that at each and every age, we have certain things that are really to our advantage. And that's what we want to be focused on, is what is it that is to my advantage at this particular point in time? So, because our brain does change, and there are things that we really excel at as we get more experience or go into the more advanced stages of our career. There actually are things that we excel at a lot more at an earlier age, but there are other things that we excel at in an earlier age of our career. So at any point in time, and I've seen people in their 70s make really significant career changes. And if we want to think about it, I think some of the people that we think of, some of the icons in industry, if we wanted to look at someone who is really advanced in their in their career. If you look at Colonel Sanders, like, I mean, how old was he when he developed the recipe that made him so famous? I think he was in his 70s at least.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope I'm still, doing the innovative at that age. Some days I feel like I can't even, get my socks on the right feet. But then other days I'm like, oh, I just had this amazing idea that I want to share with everybody. So I think it's, absolutely accurate that it doesn't matter about age. For those people that are listening that are hiring, please don't judge people when you're getting their resume and it looks like they're, older, whatever you want to call older, but they're starting a brand new career, because they bring with them their life experiences, which can be helpful for the new tasks at hand. And, the reason we have you here, Luann, is because you are an expert at this. You are an executive and leadership coach, and you focus on mindset transformation. And I just absolutely love it. And we saw something on your profile that says the letters NLP. What does that stand for?
That's neuro-linguistic programming. It's one of the ways that I work with the aspects of the mindset. And I like to work a lot actually with the subconscious mind. You could probably say I'm a little bit of a fanatic in that regard, because sort of my head's kind of always in there somewhere doing that. But it's really fascinating. So neuro-linguistic programming looks at it, and I'm going to condense this into a nutshell. But we work with the subconscious mind because basically beliefs and programs run us. We are on automatic pilot from our beliefs and programs because they are 90% of our mind. And our conscious mind that makes decisions is only 10%. So that is what's actually running us. So NLP looks at what are the triggers that set off the beliefs, because we respond to things from either visual, auditory, or kinesthetic triggers that are in our environment. It might be the tone of voice that someone uses. It might be something that someone says. It might be their body language. It could be just how we feel. We get that anxious feeling, and it immediately leads us to a conclusion of what is about to happen. And so with NLP, you can actually work with those triggers so that people don't have the same interpretation of that experience going forward. It's part of it. It's called state. So, when people are so composed that they can, literally you can practically, I don't know, throw a train at them. And then they'll kind of go, okay, well, that was a train. And now I'm just moving on.
I wish I was them sometimes. My emotions tend to take over. And, we're all a work in progress with emotional intelligence, right?
but it's true. They take work in progress, like they just take it in stride and then they move on. It's kind of like next. And that state. But that's because those triggers that lead to our making a conclusion about a situation have been changed. So they no longer have the anticipated anxiety, because your brain always says, when this happened before, what could I expect next?
Right.
Yes. So when we work with that, people have like new experiences.
Interestingly, a study by the American Institute for Economic Research found that 82% of people aged 45 and older successfully transitioned to new careers. And that shows that age isn't a barrier to making a career change, as most older professionals are able to switch roles effectively. And a LinkedIn study revealed that 57% of people believe that their age has been a barrier to finding a new job or making a career change, largely due to age-related stereotypes that they've read or heard. And this highlights how common the perception is that age can be a disadvantage in the job market. Back to you.
Yeah, I love those stats. I hate them kind of, but I love that they're there because it's saying, hey, age doesn't matter, but judgment about age is what makes people think it matters. And that's really what it is. It's the judgment, the, straight out discrimination or bias, or it could be unconscious bias too, that as humans, we are humans in the workplace, that we judge people because, like I said before, they change their resume. I was just helping a friend a couple days ago ago rewrite their resume because they have all the skills for this new career, and all the skills in their current career could 100% transfer. But I already know so many HR people and recruiters and managers and business owners are going to judge her because she was leaving an industry or trying to leave an industry that's going downhill and transfer her skills to the other industry. Now, that person has me as a benefit that I'm a great resume writer, but other people don't. So that's why I think it's so important, Luann, and to our listeners today to really, stop and think. There's a shortage of workers in the workplace. There's a shortage of workers willing to work for any company. So we have to say we need to stop judging people. What are your thoughts on that, Luann?
No, I really relate to the perspective that it is about the judgment about the age. It's not actually about the age. And that's where when an individual has a concern about that themselves, sometimes that concern can be expressed in ways that they're not even realizing because they're not fully confident in how they express, the improvements and the differences that they make. But experience in one industry is often very transferable into another industry. So it comes back to as well that perspective of knowing how I can do it, which is really knowing the things that I bring forward, which is really recognizing at any age, we always have something that is truly valuable to an organization. It's going to help an organization out if we can also express it so that they can understand it.
I love it. I just saw JC provided me another statistic, which goes right into this conversation, which is from the Society of Human Resource Management. And they said that 92% of HR professionals and hiring managers consider soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and problem solving just as important as technical skills when evaluating candidates during interviews. And I think this is so important. And if you've hired just one person in the past decade, you know that. We've been saying for ages now that we need soft skills. We need soft skills. We need soft skills. And, people, regardless of their age, might have those soft skills, but just need to be taught the new technology skills or technical skills. And the other thing that I think is very interesting, especially, this day and age, it's at the end of 2024, we're going into 2025. And we all know that we have a difficult time finding workers, but it's those skills that we're looking for. So let's focus on the soft skills that they already have, and then how we're going to train them for the technical skills that we need in this new role. So then we could, fill those positions just magically overnight.
Oh, yes. And I think it's so true that soft skills are often, they're kind of the reflective of the agility that a person has in adapting to situations. I mean, it helps a person express and communicate differently, possibly listen differently, interact differently, also even learn differently, because it's a different sense of presence with those soft skills. So I find that soft skills, I think there's also statistics that say that when something goes wrong, it's often related to soft skills.
Yeah, 100%. It really is. I mean, when my phone rings all day, every day because of I'm an HR consultant. It's usually something that they're like, I'm not sure how to handle this. It's a communication issue, a behavior, something like that. And I'm like, well, you have to train them. First of all, did you tell them the expectation of this is how you want them to behave and act? And if you didn't, then you can't blame them that they didn't know. And then if you did tell them this is how I want you to behave and act, and then you didn't give them any kind of, examples, samples, training, coaching, then, you're going to be SOL. So with that said, Luann, you're a professional coach and you're an owner of Changing Minds, Changing Lives. I know you're based out of Calgary, Canada, and, hello neighbor up there in the north. I'm way down here in the south. But what are your thoughts on, final pieces of advice to give to managers, HR, and small business owners?
I think actually to focus more on really what are the benefits that the person is expressing, really what's the core attributes that they really have, like what's their core strengths, and what is I would say also to look at what is the observation that they have of that person, that individual's learning and progression, because all of those things are reflective of a person's capacity, regardless of what age they're at. Like those are factors at all in all ages that help us to progress forward. And that's kind of a fundamental, I think more of a fundamental place to look at versus the actual number of the age or sort of where that person is positioned.
I love it. Hey, Luann, where can people find you and connect with you so they can get more information?
Best place to find me is LinkedIn at the moment.
Me too.
And yes, and of course I have a website. Also I have another website, luannhorobin.com. And so, but LinkedIn, I'm there all the time. And so, and I'd love to hear from people because I'd love to be able to just share any ideas. And I also offer a free mindset alignment call just in case somebody wants to talk about something that's going on, kind of get some ideas about what else is possible.
I love it. I love it. We'll make sure that we put Luann's information in the podcast overview. We really hope that this information has been helpful. And I do want to let everybody know that, as a small business owner, a manager, an HR professional, you know how crucial effective HR management is, even if you don't have HR for your business. Right. And this includes the topic of ageism and understanding about discrimination and unconscious bias. I encourage you to check out my brand new Insider Access learning management system and program. And like I mentioned, it's my birthday coming up. I'm going to be 50. So I am doing 50% off all of my membership programs through the end of the year. So you can get courses or monthly membership for $148.50 or an entire year for under $1,500. So check that out on thehrlady.net. Thanks for joining us and take care.